How's it going, guys? So I know it's been a while. I apologize. I really haven't been picking up that many books. And I figured now that I have a few graphic novels, I'd go ahead and do a quick haul for you guys. Let me go ahead and start off with some bande dessinée. I have Tyler Cross, Angola by Nuri and Bruno. This is, of course, from Titan Comics, their Hardcase Crimes line of books. Very nice hardcover. This is book 2 in the series. And now we have Tyler in the state pen of Angola. So I'm guessing we can expect a jailbreak and a whole lot of crazy action fun from this mobster, gangster slash crime series, whatever you want to call it. I'm pretty much in it for Bruno's art. I haven't looked into the coloring, but I believe someone else does the colors. So I'm not a fan of this being on the hardcover here. I'm sure we have to promote Nudi's other stuff, Nudi's other works, but I don't know. I figured something like that on the hardcover should probably be put like in the back or something, somewhere where it's not right on the cover. I don't know. I move on to some American comics. I have a Black Hammer Age of Doom Part 1. Finally got some Black Hammer Book 3. Jeff Lemire, Dean Ormston. Great colors by Dave Stewart. So I haven't read this one, but I believe this is where I last left off. We had Black Hammer's daughter joining the rest of the group. If you haven't read Black Hammer from the beginning, I would highly recommend you check it out. It's a great sci-fi story. Well, I guess I'll move on to some Marvel. Kind of odd. I picked up more than one Marvel book. I went ahead and got Cosmic Ghost Rider by Donny Cates with art by Dylan Burnett. And that's pretty much why I picked up the book, because the art looked interesting and I heard some good stuff about the Cosmic Ghost Rider. Donny Cates for me can be kind of hit or miss. I prefer his more indie stuff. It was pretty good. It was interesting. I won't tell you who the Cosmic Ghost Rider is, but like any other Donny Cates book, it kind of got a little winded. We get a lot of his inner dialogue going off, and because he goes and kidnaps baby Thanos or something. I think the most interesting part of Cosmic Ghost Rider was seeing Cable jump in there. He's trying to protect the future or protect the past or change the past. I don't know. I'll stop rambling and move on to Iron Fist Phantom Limb by Chapman, Sana, and Duguidge. First in print. I believe this was like a digital publication for Marvel. And again, the art looked interesting. I believe Sanas does a lot of Amigo comics, Guillermo Sanas. So you can expect, if you've read any of the Amigo titles, you can expect a lot of crazy dark stuff. It is pretty much a horror. It is basically Danny Rand losing his hand and coping with it. So you have the Iron Fist losing the Iron Fist. It was pretty interesting. The art was kind of cool. I've seen Sanas' art in black and white, and I kind of prefer it in black and white. The colors weren't the best here. They were good enough. It was a much more interesting story about a character coping with the ramifications of what he's done or what he hasn't been able to do. Much more interesting than Cosmic Ghost Rider, I think. Again, it was great to see Luke Cage jump in there. If you haven't read Man and Iron Fist, that was a pretty good series. And I kind of missed the fiddle faddle from Luke Cage in this one, but it was still pretty decent. So now we get back to the indies. I kind of picked this one up on a whim. It is from Lion Forge, an original graphic novel, Gang of Fools, by James Otis Smith. And it's pretty much what the title says, a gang of fools. Kind of reminded me of why are the French flaps so big on this thing? Kind of reminded me of Deadly Class. Kind of like that. You got this futuristic setting and tell right away from the title of it. Problem solving through sex and vandalism. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much what the story has been so far from what I've read. Otis gives us this futuristic take on hoodlums running around the city, stealing data from people on the streets and blah blah blah. And Smith makes it a little more complicated by using a lot of colloquial slang that kind of feels out of place, but maybe it's because I don't understand it. So I don't know what he was thinking. It's an interesting read, but I don't know if I would recommend picking it up. But it is from Lion Forge, so they do some interesting stuff. Anyways, on to another publisher that I kind of have a little gripe with, but they have given us a decent amount of titles. And this one is PTSD by William Singelin. I believe he's like a French Filipino creator, and like I said, it is from a publisher that has given us some decent stuff. It's from First Second Books, PTSD, and they did a nice hardcover for this. So you know, they've given us some interesting titles from the European market. I wasn't a fan of this hardcover though. They do that whole cutout thing with the book here. I don't know how long these edges will last. So that is a problem I see in it. But PTSD, as it says, it is about this young lady here coping with the trauma after coming back from war and dealing with PTSD. Singelini does some pretty decent art. It is a very interesting story. The art is in full color, which is kind of surprising from a First Second book. It does kind of get a little muddy in darker areas, and it gets a little too bright in bright sections. It is a very interesting story about coping with PTSD. But I would say for all you action junkies, don't shy away from the title because it got some great action. You get some flashbacks to when, what's her name? I believe it's June. When June was in combat. So you see her whole story. And like I said, the art is very, very interesting. It's very bright at times, very colorful. The creator does a pretty amazing job of creating this city, which is kind of a cross between Venice and Hong Kong, and you could see he was inspired by anime or manga. It has some great action. Afterwards, June actually gets into a war with drug gangs that try to take advantage of the returning soldiers that come back with problems and so on and so forth. And you have her coping with that, coping with trying to fit back into society. And then there's a secondary character, single mother, trying to run a restaurant, trying to help out as much as she can, as well as helping June. So yeah, it was a great story. I would say it really shows how charity helps people, even though sometimes we shun from being charitable or accepting charity. So I would say, you know, give it a shot. And oh, in the back it has a nice ad for some of their books here, which is kind of sad that they have Last Man here, even though they dropped it after, what was it, volume 5 or 6. And then they have Animus down here. This was pretty good, from Revoir, another manga inspired series there. Speaking of Last Man, I went ahead and hunted down volume 11. Of course, this is from Diablo Ediciones. So sad that First Second Books dropped it after the 6th volume, but I was happy to come across it in Spanish again. Great series. Did I say volume 11? I meant volume 10. This volume deals with a lot of flashbacks and gives us a lot of backstory on a lot of the characters that we've come to enjoy. It's kind of a volume that's revving up to something even more adventurous and exciting, I would say. And the world, if you've read any of Last Man, of the English release, it's completely changes. It's sort of gone from a fantasy to a futuristic sci-fi, back to a fantasy, to a post-apocalyptic future. It's gone through so many turns that it's just a great, exciting book. And probably the only downside to the volume was that it ended. So now I have to wait probably another year to get volume 11. I believe the French edition has already released, so hopefully the Spanish publisher will pick it up pretty soon. I don't know, they have an ad for the volume in the back already. I don't want to flip to something inappropriate, because Sanlabile and Balak, they do some pretty crazy stuff in these volumes, which makes me wonder if First Second Books actually dropped Last Man because of censorship or something, because I remember reading those first volumes and it was kind of tame, but picking up all these new Spanish publications, besides the actual violence, there's a lot of sex and graphic content that kind of surprised me. So did First Second Books actually edit Last Man as they were releasing it, or did the creators decide to get a little more racy? I don't know. It's something to consider. Why did Last Man get canceled at 6 instead of just continuing? I don't know. I'm just babbling again. Anyways, that was my graphic novel haul, trades, comics, as you wish to call them. If you're waiting for a manga haul, you'll have to wait a bit longer. I'm kind of busy and kind of a lot lazy, so that's the thing. But if you stick around to the end and watched, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video when I get to it. Yes, thanks for watching.